Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are in the news again today. On their Weaponized podcast, they released a leaked video of a UAP coming out of the ocean. And it was filmed by the United States Navy in 2023. Of course, they're getting some backlash from the debunker cult, but that's expected. I mean, basically, this is how it works. This is what goes on these days. I mean, basically, every time there's some kind of a leaked video that comes out, it gets presented online. A lot of people in the UFO community talk about it, want to know more about it. Meanwhile, debunkers like Mick West come right out of the gate saying, "Oh, it's planes." That's what we got today. And it's just this, I'm just tired of the same old routine, you know. It's just, over the last 4 years, how long have I been doing this? Since 2021? Almost 4 years, around 4 years, something like that. It just seems like this is the same old. I've done numerous stories like this throughout the years. But what's interesting, though, about this is that the video footage I thought was really interesting. And, of course, I will leave the link to Corbell's and Knapp's podcast from today where they talked about this incident, and I think it's really fascinating, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy that. But this is what I want to talk about here, what he wrote on Twitter, and then some reaction. And also there was an article from Christopher Sharp of Liberation Times, and there were comments from former government official Marek von Rennenkampf. We'll talk about some of the stuff that he said, and also the reaction from the debunkers. It's always the same old thing. They jump to a conclusion without any sort of research or anything. They just make these statements, and this is this vicious circle we've been seeing for years now. It just keeps continuing. Nothing changes. Anyway, it says here on Twitter, this is the post that Jeremy put up today. He says, in 2023, the United States Navy encountered 4 Tic-Tac-shaped UAP off the coast of California. Personnel from the USS Jackson in the Combat Information Center, or CIC, filmed them. One of the vehicles of unknown origin was observed exiting the water, transitioning directly into flight, demonstrating transmedium capability. No flight control surfaces or conventional propulsion signatures, which is heat plumes and exhaust, were detected. The UAPs executed an observed instantaneous synchronized departure. Operator, purpose, capability, origin, and intent are unknown. The craft remain unidentified. And then if you look at this post, he has all the information about the date, the time, the location, the vessel, the imaging platform, a lot of detail. Then he has some details here. It says 4 Tic-Tac-shaped UAP observed, 2 tracked and 1 highlighted in obtained FLIR footage. Craft detected by multiple reconnaissance platforms, including radar. No flight control surfaces or propulsion signatures were detected. Craft were self-illuminated, and 1 was observed exiting the water directly into flight, exhibiting transmedium capability. And transmedium capability, by the way, that means it could do anything. It could move in water, in the air, could go in and out of water, go fly into space, could do whatever it wants. All craft were observed in an apparent coordinated, synchronized, and instantaneous departure, indicative of shared communication. Now, that's interesting. So they all basically left at the same time, these craft that were observed in 2023. Neither origin nor destination were able to be determined. Of course not. When we're dealing with NHI, of course, they're not going to let us know where they're going or where they hide out at. I would imagine probably on this planet they've been hiding out under the oceans, under the ground, who knows, anywhere. Maybe right in front of us sometimes, invisible. We know that they have cloaking abilities. Anyway, it also says here, operator, purpose, capability, and intent are unknown. Craft remain officially unidentified. And then he has the picture of the video here. I'll just play it quick.
The BVSS team.
Yeah, like 22,000 feet.
That shit took off earlier.
Now, I'm just going to get out of this now. That was pretty much it. Now that thing there does not move like a plane, although that's what Mick West is saying, the debunker, the biggest debunker of our age. That's what he stated. We'll get into that later. However, also I want to point out that Christopher Sharp published a great article about this today in Liberation Times, and I highly recommend you check it out. Of course, I'll leave the link for that in the description as well, so don't forget to check it out. But according to this article, it says here, in conversation with Corbell and Knapp, the witness aboard the USS Jackson, an Independence-class littoral combat ship, recounted initially seeing the self-illuminating object emerge from the ocean. And here was a quote from the witness. We don't know what his name is here. It says, "We only see lights because it's at nighttime, but to see the lights emerging from water... So I go out to the bridge wing. I'm noticing things and lights on the horizon, and like city lights or any other ships that are out there. So seeing a light that is lifting up, you can see. I know the difference between a light on the horizon coming up and a light coming out of the water. When you've been on the water more in your life than you haven't been, you know the difference." Then the article goes on to state, it says, the witness also describes seeing all four objects vanishing simultaneously and instantaneously, seemingly in perfect unison. "We witnessed all four of them, perfectly synchronized, jetting off into the abyss. They all left at the exact same moment, and we were like, holy shit. A few seconds later, I ran to my station and checked the radar. They were gone completely off the radar. It was clear they were in communication with one another, moving in unison like a countdown, 3, 2, 1, go. Or perhaps one entity was controlling all four and they departed simultaneously. But yeah, they all left exactly at the same time." Now, obviously, what we're talking about here, this isn't man-made stuff. These people in our military, in the United States Navy, they're not talking about man-made craft. Obviously, it's not. I mean, you have to be an idiot to think otherwise. I mean, why are we continuing? How come we're not accepting this as a whole at this point? That the reality that there's a presence here. I mean, we got to get over this hump, folks. We're just spinning our wheels. I mean, here we have some more great information. Obviously, this craft that you saw in that video, that's not a plane or anything like that. It's not a balloon. And they were all moving at the same time. We saw one of the craft in that video. I mean, to me, right, this is NHI/extraterrestrial. That's what has to be that. But I thought this was also interesting. Marek von Rennenkamp, he's an opinion contributor to The Hill, and he spoke to Liberation Times, and he analyzed the video, and this is what he said, according to the article from Christopher Sharp. It says, "This is intriguing footage. Since we have the date, time, location, and direction the USS Jackson's infrared camera was pointed, we can rule out commercial jets and military helicopters with flight tracker software. At the beginning of the USS Jackson video, one airliner appears to be aligned with the camera, but it is traveling too high and in the wrong direction to be either of the unknown objects. Additionally," he said, "conventional aircraft and helicopters along with balloons were never good candidate explanations for this incident given the object's infrared signature, which resembles a capsule-shaped object and appears to lack control surfaces, a tail, engine exhaust, or conventional means of propulsion. Critically, there may be a link to the well-known 2004 USS Nimitz incidents in which 5 naval aviators observed tic-tac-shaped craft." And there's a lot more to this article, so I highly recommend you check it out. But there you go. You're getting comments from the experts here, and it's obvious. I mean, you look at that video, and it was something that was leaked up to Corbell. He gets a lot of this stuff, which is always good. And to me, right, I think it's obvious. I mean, we're dealing with NHI here. I know for a fact that they're here. A lot of us do. We actually have absolute proof of this presence. But what does Mick West have to say? This is within an hour. Okay, now I'm doing this podcast. It says that Corbell put that post on X 6 hours ago. Mick West was 5 hours ago. So within an hour, Mick West went on there and he goes, this was his obviously he doesn't do anything, right? He doesn't do any research or doesn't do any calculations. He just comes out with a statement. And he says, the Tic-Tac looks just like the Chilean Navy case, which was a plane. And then he has a link to his Metabunk site. And around the same time, there's something else interesting happened. Because Jake Barber, of course, the whistleblower Jake Barber, who Ross Coulthard has interviewed recently, And he posted something on Twitter today, X today, and it was of an orb, a video of an orb. And here I'm going to pull it up on the screen right now. And you can see this orb floating around. And it says here, he wrote, Jake Barber says, one of my favorite, a class 3 blob. It materializes and dematerializes instead of flying in and out. Curious if anyone wants to believe this is a balloon. Of course, you know that there will be at least one person who believes it's a balloon. It's not a balloon, I don't think. But let's see what the resident debunker has to say about this. Mick West, he says, as shiny mylar balloons rotate, they reflect different amounts of sunlight. The only way to demonstrate that this is not a balloon is to prove its trajectory is inconsistent with the wind. That has not been shown, and hence this is a video consistent with a balloon. So he's saying it's a balloon. I actually responded to this. I couldn't help myself. I said, Mick, I'm tired of you calling everything balloons. You could have come up with anything else, and your cult would bite. Why not temperature inversion, or mass hallucination, or meteor? You're getting lazy. Menzel and Class are turning over in their graves. Yeah, I'm sick of hearing the balloon explanation. Oh, come on, you got to mix it up a little bit, Mick, with these lies. Come on. Tell me about temperature inversions. Let's hear something about that. I want to hear, you mumble on about that instead. I mean, come on, balloons, come on. Maybe it was caused by temperatures or something. Ice crystals in the atmosphere. Maybe that's what it is. Ice crystals in the atmosphere. Anything's better than this. You're getting boring. It's boring. Now, also, I want to point out another debunker, Stephen Greenstreet of the tabloid newspaper, the New York Post. He posted on here too. It says, with regard to Jake Barber's orb, it says, if you don't post the raw data with date, time, and location, it simply doesn't matter. It's a waste of time. So Greenstreet was upset that Barber didn't provide any date, location, time. But would it have mattered? It doesn't seem to matter with these guys, no matter what, right? I mean, just in the other case that Corbell and Knapp were talking about, right? In that case, there was all the information, like all that information was there, date, time, location. I mean, so it didn't matter. It's still, according to Mick West, it's just a plane that just moves back and forth like this, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, up and down. According to him, that's a plane. According to Mick West, too, just keep in mind, too, the creatures in the Las Vegas alien video, they were raccoons and coyotes. That's what he said. Let me show you. This is a picture of a raccoon right here, and apparently right here, this is a coyote. And so I just want to point that out as well. But yeah, I'm just, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the same old story. Every time some good information comes out, you just, all of a sudden it's the same old thing. And the reason for this, right? The biggest reason for this is because the government, no governments in the world, for whatever reason to this point, have told the public the truth about what's going on. That's why. As long as this continues, then it's always going to be like this. It's always going to be people being lied to about what things are and are not by the debunkers, and that's just how it's going to be. And of course, it goes both ways too. I mean, of course, there's hoaxes out there as well, right? I mean, with UFOs, I mean that happens as well. And speaking of that, I want to bring something up because I did get some concerns after yesterday's podcast when I was talking about AdaptNet AI, the company, this Italian-based company that apparently has developed some new AI program that's able to detect the cloaking mechanism, or they're actually able to decloak the aliens inside video, like in the Vegas video. Now, I've received some concerns from some people about that, saying that they don't believe that this firm is real. They don't believe that the guy who heads this firm is legitimate, Aldo Rotondale. And I have concerns too. Last year, and I voiced those concerns last year when he tried to ask me. He wanted me to sign a non-disclosure agreement. And I took offense to that. But however, here's the thing about this is, and even before I did yesterday's podcast, I was talking this over with the woman. And, the thing about this is, okay, this has been going on for 7 months now. If say all of this is a hoax, say that Aldo Rotondale and his AdaptNet AI was phony, right? I don't think it is, because they have this big report now, and you have they're still talking about it. They're coming out with a second part of the report later this month. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. I mean, but here's the thing: if it does turn out to be, say this did turn out to be not true, this stuff that they're talking about, that the military is interested in the program that they've developed out of this, the product that they developed out of figuring out how to decloak the alien faces inside that video, and say that all that stuff's not true, and everything that they're talking about is untrue. Say that's the case, which I don't think it is, but some people are concerned that it might be. But if it is, right, okay, then think about it. If they're hoaxing this, right, if they're trying to discredit this story, look at the lengths they're going to do it. Then that it would be incredible to be dragging this thing out, this whole pretend product that was developed from this from their discovery. I just to me, right, it just shows the desperation of the people trying to cover it up. Then, if that were to be the case, I don't think it is, but some people think it is, that this is all BS. We'll see as time goes on, but I don't believe it. That's all I have to say about that. I just think that there's nothing to be worried about with that, because one way or the other, right? To me, either this report and all of this stuff that this company has been talking about, either it corroborates the stuff that Scott Roeder has already proven, him and his team. Either it corroborates it legitimately, and if it doesn't, and this is all some sort of a setup, like some people have been sending me messages about, that they're trying to trick us in some way, right? Well, okay, then why? You have to ask yourself, okay, why would anybody do that? Because they would be desperate then, right? They would be desperate to keep this all covered up, and they would want to try to, make this make it look illegitimate. If they're trying to delegitimize this, I mean, then they're going to be the ones that end up with egg on their face in the end, right? I mean, it's already been proven. This case has already been proven. There's nothing that's going to happen here. I don't think that they are. I think that after all this time that's passed, I mean, if boy, I gotta say, if it is a hoax, it will be. I would actually, if it is, I actually hope it is, in a way, right? Because it will just show the desperation of the people behind the scenes, the debunkers and the naysayers and the control group, the desperation they have out there to keep this story bottled up and to make it look phony, and it's not going to work. So I'm not worried about that, not one bit. Anyway, I want to go through some of the comments I received recently from some of the followers. Yeah, with regard to the comments by Aldo Rotondale, who operates AdaptNet AI, let free your UAP, wrote on Spotify. He says, well, I hope this Aldo person has his backside covered, because if the military want his technology, we've seen what they are capable of. Just saying, I would be dotting my I's and crossing my T's if he knows what's good for him. Maybe you should send Dr. Greer a follow-up letter about the points you made in the video to see if he responds. Just a thought to keep up the great work. Eventually you will get the vindication you deserve. Aliens are real people. Deal with it. Yes, they are real, no question about it. Over on YouTube, Spore0011 says, it's a shame that when you have legitimate stuff like close encounters in regard to this Vegas case, and you have beings that are obviously on camera, a lot of the UFO community would rather focus on ambiguous night vision jellyfish objects. The Vegas case is once in a lifetime footage, and it's crazy. It's not getting the attention it deserves by the rest of the community. Of course, I'm beating that drum. I believe the same thing, that it's not. It's like I was saying, like I said yesterday, and I'll say it again. I'll just keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again. I don't know why people in the UFO community aren't using this to their advantage, to beat over the head, figuratively, the debunkers with it. Every time they open their mouth, say, what about this? You can't disprove this. This actually proves that there's something here, so shut up. More people in the UFO community, the big names in the UFO community, need to be directing people to this incident and explaining it to them, showing them the video. More people need to be doing this, because then this way the whole world will finally know, and then that, I think, over time will end up forcing the governments to finally come clean about it. Tony Barnes on YouTube says, I too thought Aldo's original approach was not kosher. However, this is great stuff. Sadly, it's taken so long, but now at last, all years and Scott's hard work seem to be making some headway. Well done. Thank you very much for that comment, Tony. I appreciate it. And I'm sure that Scott Roeder appreciates it as well. And yeah, I mean, to me, right, you know, again, we'll see what ends up with this AdaptNet AI later on this month. They're supposed to release the second part of their report, and we'll see what that looks like. I mean, again, if it turned like people are concerned that this is all some sort of a setup or hoax on their behalf, and they're trying to expose how easily manipulated people in the UFO community are, because look at this guy's talking about it now, and we made this whole report up. Well, if you look at that guy's report, I mean, that's very, I don't think that somebody spent all this time on a hoax, but hey, you never know. I don't think so though, but some people do. But again, we'll get the second half of that report later on this month, and we'll take it from there. That's all I got to say. Yeah, here's a comment to that effect. This is from Grim7747. I call major BS on that guy's company. Decloaking is a different subject all by itself. However, to claim you can decloak hidden things in a video is absurd. How would you know that isn't just an addition to the video rather than a reveal? And then Chris Lathrop also, he responded to that. He says, dude, me too. I think it's a massive disinformation attempt. I just went through it and it screams cover up to me. Well, again, like I did talk to, Chris Lathrop is somebody who's I've worked with on this case. He's been on the show a couple of times, and I was in communication with him last night, and he's concerned about it. And I told him, I said, hey, if this is how it is, then if what you're saying is right, well then what does it matter? Because that's just going to show the desperation of the other side. That they'll do anything to try to discredit this case. That's what it will show, and it ain't going to hurt this case. This case is never going away. Because this proves it, right? It proves it. And then Randy McKernan, he responded to this. He responded to Chris Lathrop. He says, I agree that any attempt to use software to interpret video/audio content is fraught with potential pitfalls, and I've been a software engineer for decades. It is even possible to unintentionally introduce pareidolia into a software algorithm. I also, however, believe that there is some value in attempting to identify cloaking activity and create algorithms that undo the cloaking effect. Yeah, and so we'll see. Again, we'll wait and see. But in the final analysis, it's not going to change anything. It just won't change anything. To me, right? If this was phony, right? Their report, everything that they're doing is fake, then that will be exposed later on for what it is, and it's not going to hurt this case. It's not going to hurt this case, but. We'll see, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, I could be wrong, though. It doesn't make me right. I'm just saying I don't think that's the case. Last year I was wary of him after I got that request to sign the non-disclosure agreement, and but now I feel differently. But hey, you never know. People get fooled sometimes, and even I get fooled sometimes. But we'll see. I'm not too worried about it. Because, again, it's not going to change anything. Anyway, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.